Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we talk books, drink booze, and have beards.
All right. As always, I am Bob of TalesbyBob.
And I'm Derek from Coverdale.
Coverdale.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As usual, we're sitting here. We're not really drinking at the moment because
It's a bit early in the day.
Yeah, we've never recorded a podcast this early before. And in our defense, brand ambassador Ryan, we flew him in.
Yeah, it was 100% us.
Oh yeah, it was 100% us. We
Yeah.
flew him in, and we're meeting up with him for a business lunch. Yeah, we'll call it a business lunch.
Totally.
And hopefully we're going to be recording a bonus podcast with him later in the day. But basically, we're going to go to lunch and then start drinking. So it didn't make sense to start drinking at 9:30 in the morning.
I was very concerned that was the plan.
No, I mean, I've got plenty of whiskey in there, but I was like, oh, I don't want to get drunk, then go eat, and then get a belly full of pork,
was, I was like,
and
we're not
then
going to be
drink
able to
more.
drive. That was
Yeah,
my
because
concern.
it's like a 45-minute drive to this barbecue place.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're not drinking at this moment, but I can tell you what I will be drinking later is Gentleman Jack until it runs out, and then Heaven Hell.
I think that's the right way to do that.
I like to start strong,
And
know,
then
like
drink the swill once you're too drunk to taste anything.
Swill.
Well,
But
no,
I'll be
compared to
drinking.
Gentleman Jack. it
Yeah,
is.
I'll be drinking the Jack straight, and Heaven I'll be mixing with Coke Zero.
I don't know what I'll be drinking yet because I haven't gone to the store, but I'm thinking Eagle Rare maybe.
Uh-huh.
I haven't had that before.
I spent a lot of time last night convincing. I went to have dinner with my folks. I spent a lot of time last night trying to convince them to go get some Clyde Mays. So
how is it so hard to convince?
well,
someone to try
they're
whiskey?
very kind of set in their
What do they
ways.
drink?
They drink Canadian Mist. Like they drink Canadian Mist. One like my mom drinks Canadian Mist and water, and my stepdad drinks Canadian Mist and Coke. But they drink that every night, like two, three, like a little wine with dinner, 2 or 3 cups of that every night, and it works for them. And I've never really seen them drink any other kind of whiskey. Like they're very set in their ways on the whiskey. So they'll try beers. They'll try all sorts of beers, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where I tried. What was it? Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Yep. Love that stuff.
All right, let's dive into our news. And I'm going to start out with some highly controversial science news. Highly. So apparently a group of scientists in a 1988 study found that the area of skin covered by men's beard hair correlates with the area of skin with sweat glands on the forehead and calvario, which is the fancy word for top of the head. Basically, what this whole study says is the thicker the beard, the quicker the bald. That your body compensates by all the hair the heat that your beard traps in.
Mm-hmm.
It compensates by thinning your hair on top of your head so that more heat can escape. And they did a follow-up in 98 that basically said the same thing. Like they were like, evaporation rate for women and boys was the same in the two areas, but different in bearded men. So clearly, this bunk science is brought to you by Big Razor. Clearly, trying to encourage men to not grow beards. Like, ooh, grow a beard, get bald.
If we're going right into Big Razor news,
Yeah.
then
Always.
let's just jump into my beard news, which is going to touch closely onto some things that I don't normally like talking about on this, but
Okay.
it's for a good cause.
Was it the
Jack Dorsey?
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
So Jack Dorsey's the CEO of Twitter.
Yeah.
And he was at I think it was a congressional
He
hearing.
he went and spoke in front of
And
Congress this week.
clearly, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. However, when he came on, the internet just trolled him into oblivion because of his beard. No. But they were making fun of his beard. Clearly, these were bots.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Russian bots.
By Russian Big Razor bots.
Russian Big Razor. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
exactly. The peak, that's peak villainy right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's It's so bad. Like, but they were just mocking him, talking about how he looks like Mel Gibson.
Did he have like a real bushy beard or something?
He had it trimmed down some, but he has like a significant beard.
Okay, I don't know that I've ever seen
You're not missing
him.
much. I mean, he's just the CEO of Twitter. I mean, like he says things. Anyways,
yeah, I'm not going to dive into the politics of Twitter.
No, but it was him testifying, and monkey business ensued. Like people just went nuts on him, just memed him into a.
I feel like a lot of that was probably people just wanting to shit on him.
Oh yeah, well I mean you know how shit posters are. They just wanted to tease him.
Yeah.
But again, that's if shit posters are real, but really they're not. It's all big razor.
Yeah, normally they are real, but in this case it was Russian.
No self-respecting shit poster would make fun of a man's beard.
True.
Yeah.
True. If I do recommend though that you go back and watch Alex Jones showed up.
I pointedly avoided
No.
it.
I'm not going to. Again, I'm not going to address the politics of it. I have my views, but Alex Jones showed up to, in his words, confront his aggressors, kind of deal. And he got into a screaming match at Marco Rubio.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was fucking hilarious.
Like I saw that things happened, and I came real close to looking at it because I follow the news and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm really not in the mood.
Yeah, so it's great. Fucking great. So in my book news, kind of a follow-up. You may remember I was talking about how Macmillan and Tor did their embargo. Testing that out. Well, Penguin Random House. All right, here's a quick disclaimer. I own 12 shares of Pearson stock, which is the parent company of Penguin Random House. Mm-hmm. All right.
12 whole shares.
12 whole shares. I think the value of that is like $100.
Hey!
I own 2 stocks. That one and what they say go with what invest in what you know. Yeah, and I was like, well, I kind of know books.
Are you hedging your bets and going in with Big Razor? You fucking shit.
No, I would never. The other is some medical thing, and
you don't know anything about medicine.
I
except
don't.
For
But it was a cheap stock that someone that I read online that was like, oh hey, here's a cheap stock that you could invest in, and I did, and I've regretted it ever since. Anyway, but so Penguin Random House is changing its terms for library ebook lending. And at first, like, oh, Tor just did that. Now, no. Unlike Macmillan, they actually, it's like this is good news. Mm-hmm. They've actually talked to the libraries, and the libraries are for this. So as of October 1st, Penguin Random House is moving from a perpetual access model, which what that means is libraries pay a higher price but retain access to the ebook forever, to a metered model. So there will be lower prices on ebooks, but it expires after 2 years. And libraries are cool with this because while they like that, like libraries like the idea of perpetual access, in reality, pretty much ebooks like that, after 6 to 8 months, it just drops off.
Right.
So they would rather, and they like this is especially true for like fiction bestsellers. So they were like, Skip Dye, who is something like, I don't know, he's a high up guy in Penguin Random House. He said most librarians are telling us that they would rather pay lower prices across our front lists and back lists in exchange for a copy that expires after a given time period. In response to this feedback, we are happy to tell you that we will be lowering our prices on our entire catalog of adult and children's fiction and nonfiction titles. Under our new terms, ebooks will expire after 2 years from the original purchase date, with the aligned pricing lowered for our ebooks. So
sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, good for them.
Yeah,
they listened instead of just randomly from out of the blue embargoing libraries.
We're not getting into this again now. However, we will now move on to the next of Derek's bullshit news of the week, which is very Derek focused in this way. As my news is about the wrestler Cody Rhodes is writing a children's book.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he?
Well, he's the son of Dusty Rhodes, and
Didn't
I imagine
he die?
Dusty died. Was it this year? Maybe last year. No. It would have been
It was somewhat in
a couple of
recent
years
memory.
ago. A couple of years ago, because it was when I don't want to.
Yeah.
They have a Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament in NXT now, and they've got a statue, and like the trophy is like a set of boots, his cowboy boots that he was famous for. Anyways, so Cody Rhodes is writing a children's book that comes out next year, and this comes after a big wrestling event that he and his friends, the Young Bucks, threw. It's the biggest indie show I think ever. With it sold out the 11 or 12, I think it's 11,000 seat place in 25 minutes or something like that.
Huh.
And it was big business. And then he's doing a second in a line where the Young Bucks wrote a children's book. I think that's roughly based on their life too, where it's basically don't give up on your dreams kind of stuff, because they're professional wrestlers. They were turned down from the big WWE. They kept working. Now they make way more money doing what they love at their own own speed for where they want, when they want. So I don't know. I saw some of the kid art. It looks kind of fun, and it's wrestling, and it's easy because I was hungover yesterday. So yeah, news, books.
In my booze news, I have 2 things.
Do your save your good one for the last, because I've got another shitposty one.
Okay. Well, they're both good in different ways. One is I'm going to shit talk a little. I'll do it first. So most U.S. and Canadian fraternities are invoking a 1-year ban on vodka, tequila, and other hard alcohol. It was a near unanimous vote, and the 66 international and national men's fraternities of the North American Interfraternity Conference have adopted a rule prohibiting hard alcohol with more than 15% alcohol by volume from fraternity chapters and events unless served by licensed third-party vendors.
That seems like that would cut down on liabilities for the
Well, it's because two fraternity members have died this year from alcohol-related deaths. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see what they're going for here, but I've known a ton of guys in frats and have been to some frat parties, and I can already tell you this is going to have little to no effect. What they're going to do, so it'll put a little bit of a damper on kind of smaller parties, but talking about Troy, my experiences there. Every one of the fraternities there would throw a big charity function every year. And it was, it would raise some money, but it was basically just a massive fucking party. The Teeks would always throw Trick or Teak, Delta Chi's would always throw their luau, stuff like that. There's plenty of money there to hire a third-party vendor. That's a non-issue. And you're still going to have people car bar it. You're going to have people have some liquor in their rooms, it won't be served, but I don't know, man, I just don't. And you think they're not going to just binge on some beer? I mean, come on. While I applaud the intent behind it, I feel like this isn't really going to do anything. We'll see. I could just be a real cynic when it comes to fraternities. Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of.
But
it's not really my jam.
Yeah, but because here's it's a bunch of college age kids. They all have a modicum of intelligence. They're going to figure out workarounds. That's what
college is for.
That's what college is for. It's to figure shit out. It's problem solving.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, critical thinking. They are going to figure out ways around this. Yeah. So I applaud the intent behind it. I just think it's not going to
could just be they
really
drink more
do
beer.
anything. Well, and I think it's 15% alcohol. I wouldn't be surprised if they start targeting weak liquors. I don't know what's out there in that range, but a beer,
15.
I don't know, but you think a beer is up to 8-9%.
Yeah.
I think a platinum is pretty high, but I mean it's not going to be 15%. But I'm sure there is something in that range.
That Shadowcaster Porter that we tried was 7.5.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's something out there that's in that range. I don't know what, but I would not be surprised if you see that.
Are some of those mixers real light, triple sec? Is that kind of
maybe? I don't know. But also then the whole thing is you have to have a licensed third-party vendor. What counts as third party if a former member, like a alumni owns a bartending like business, or something like that, does he count as third party? I don't know, just kind of.
I don't know. I think, like I said, it probably just try and helping with liability shit, so that if something happens, they're like, look, we have a rule that says they couldn't do this. They did this workaround. We're not it's not our fault.
The other cynic in me says that they did this to try and preempt colleges from coming in and doing something like that. Like, hey, no, we're policing our own. Leave us alone. Don't bother us.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and also, I don't know. I'm almost positive on this. Fraternities are still real segregated. There are African American fraternities and sororities that are completely separate, and I don't know if because I don't think they're part of the interfraternity conference. I think they're under their own deal. So I don't know if that affects them either. But I know, like at Troy, all the African American fraternities and sororities, they did their stuff off campus because they didn't have frat houses on campus.
They didn't?
No, because it's the South. I don't know all the politics behind it, but I don't know. All the white fraternities were on campus, and the black fraternities weren't. So it's the South. I don't know the exact reasons, but I have a suspicion that race may have been an issue on that one because it's fucking Troy. But again, I don't know. Maybe the African American fraternities just didn't want to be on campus. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly cynical.
Because when I was there once, I could have sworn that
maybe they're there. Maybe they're on there now, but they were not when I was going there.
Yeah, and anyways. But, so my last bit of shitposty news was that Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan this weekend. And
I used to really like him.
And drank some whiskey and quote-unquote smoked pot, but...
Yeah, he smoked a blunt. I saw it.
Oh, no, he took it into his mouth and then blew it out. I was like, good job, bud.
I used to really admire him,
mm-hmm.
and now I really don't like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And not because he smoked a blunt. Like, please go smoke all the blunts you want. That's not the reason why. It's because he's gone off the deep fucking end. And is devoted a weird percentage of his life to insulting cave diver. Yeah. Like, he's like, oh, go look into his child bride. He's got like a 29-year-old girlfriend and has had her for the past 8 years. That's not a child bride, last time I checked. Just I don't know the legal definition of child bride, but I'm pretty sure 29 doesn't qualify. Oh, fucking Elon. I like his companies. I like the thrust of them. He's just turned into a fucknutter. Stay off the internet, dude. Stay off the internet, and I will start liking you again.
I don't think he cares about your opinion.
Oh, I know he does. I know he doesn't give a flying fuck.
The funniest thing was at the beginning of that episode, them talking about his flamethrower. He's like, no, it's not a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, because I couldn't sell them if they were not a flamethrower. And they're like, and Joe's like, why would you make those? Who's going to buy that? And he was like,
I know
no one. I don't want... He's like, when I made it, I specifically said, I don't want people to buy this.
Yeah.
It's way too expensive. Why would you... He's like, what do you need this for?
I know somebody bought one.
Of course you do.
You know him too.
Of course I do. But it's one of those things like, why? Oh, I found out my uncle has a grenade launcher. That's pretty cool. Did I tell you that?
No.
Anyways, yeah.
Huh. ATF, if you're listening.
No, it's not like a grenade. But it's
right.
Like it's the attachment to something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. All right, my final bit of news. Starting next summer, Disneyland will sell alcohol to the general public at Oga's Cantina, which will be located in the new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The cantina will feature famous concoctions created with exotic ingredients using, air quotes, otherworldly methods, served in unique vessels. Kids' drinks will be available too. And basically, like, this is under, like, turning on in 63 years of tradition where, like, Walt Disney apparently was like, I don't want alcohol at my park because he wanted it to be a wholesome, booze-free environment.
Mm-hmm.
But Disney was like, well, alcohol is a big moneymaker at other Disney properties, including the adjacent California Adventure Park. And they have always kind of served liquor in that, like, what is it, like Club 38 or something like that? Like some secret club that's in Disney, something like that. But yeah, so I was like, oh, cool. If I ever go there, which I won't. I do want to go down there for October and like World of Harry Potter. I really want to go to the World of Harry Potter. Looks badass, and my brother's been, and he says it's badass. So yeah, that's my news. You got anything else?
Like I said, all my.
I feel like we have roamed a bit.
I did know that there was one other thing I read that I didn't completely read. I read the thing, but it was a really short thing. Is that I think it's the owners of Macallan bought a whiskey company here in the United States and are going to be entering the American whiskey business. Huh. I think it was Macallan. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Okay. But so I thought that was interesting. But since they just said that they were buying it and it was unclear how they were approaching it. It's kind of like they're just taking it over. They didn't say anything about a new product or anything. I didn't really want to do it. Okay. But I figured I'd throw it off right here at the end. Yeah. Before the harmonica.
All right, and we are back. So this week is a book battle episode, and kind of a weird topic. Not a weird topic, but a topic I didn't expect to go into. Shall we say? I don't know. I had never, when I was envisioning us doing these book battles, like a topic like this had never quite popped into my mind. But here we go. Derek, what is the best love story in fantasy?
Nacor and his horse.
And we're done here.
Let's be fair. The only reason I say that is because if I'm remembering correctly, at the beginning of the book, he calls himself Nacor the Blue Rider while he's wearing an orange robe. Like, why do you call yourself that? You don't even have a horse. He's like, yes, but at one time I had a horse given to me by the Empress of Great Kesh, and it was the best horse I ever had. And I'm pretty sure he mentions that constantly, unless I just loved it so much, and that's the only time I mentioned it. Okay. And his bag that always pulls out oranges until the guy moves what he has there and it becomes apples. And he's like, what the hell?
All right. I'm going to say it's Richard St. Vere and Alec Campion in the book Swords Point by Ellen Kushner. And it's for two, 3-ish reasons. Reason number one is they are madly in love with each other. Kind of an emphasis on madly. But so they are very in love with each other. And you go at the start of the story, they are already in love. Like, they have been dating for some time. Like, you don't see them falling in love, you see them in love, which I have a preference to that. A lot of times I feel like in fantasy, the whole falling in love aspect seems a little cliche-esque, the way it's done almost. It's like, I don't know. A lot of times I have problems with these people falling in love. Like, it just seems forced, or, it's like, it's very frequently not done super well. So then we skip past all that. They're already in love. So that's kind of reason one. Reason two is it's very believable in that it's not a healthy relationship. It's got some serious flaws. Like, Alec has some pretty severe mental issues. He tries to kill himself at one point. He routinely goes around. For those who haven't read it, Swords Point is about duelists. And Richard St. Vere is the best duelist in the city. And Alec, all you know is he may be from the nobility, but you don't really know, and he won't talk about his past. And he goes around, like, picking fights with people because he knows Richard will just step in and kill them for him. Like, it's not healthy. It's not a healthy relationship. which I appreciate. It adds some realism to it. And the last thing is like, so it's obviously not a healthy relationship, but without revealing spoilers, at the end, it's all about having each other's back in this. Like, it's one of those deals that Richard, as a duelist, has his honor, and he will not rise to his own defense because it would go against his honor. Like, he knows something that, like, if he was like, it's one of those deals like he could reveal who hired him to do a thing, but he won't because that's against the honor code. And so that's it. He's fucked. And then Alec does a thing that you don't see coming, but like kind of like is willing to give up everything to save Richard. Like, it's one of those things like they have each other's back kind of deal, and they're two flawed fucky characters, but in the end they've got each other's back, and it's beautiful. So to me, that's my favorite. I say it's the best because it's got all these things. It's got a big payoff in the end. It's realistic, and I don't have to watch them fall in love in some fucky weird cliche fantasy way.
Read better books, and you won't have to do that. But
hard pressed. Swords Point's amazing, but
my thing is very reminiscent of that. The reason I don't really have an answer. We talked about this beforehand, and this is where I'll get into it. I didn't have a real answer because all of the ones that I like because they feel more realistic, which means in a lot of the cases the people don't end up together. Like, I really like, as much as I don't like her as a character, the Kvothe Dinah stuff I really enjoy because I could definitely see something like that happening where, like, if you're their friend, you're looking at them and you're like, they both like each other, but they can't get it out of their own way, and they keep screwing everything up. So I like stuff like that, and then like,
and who knows? In the end, maybe in book 3,
no, God, there's no way he's gonna like. You know what? I don't want to get into.
Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
But then there's.
I want to nail you down on a podcast where we get your predictions for book 3.
That's fine. I mean, you'll need to give me time.
That's fine.
That's fine. To formulate all of my ideas.
Yeah, well,
but let's see. But I like the thing that I came down to the most. And for example, this, I won't say it's the best, but I will say for me it's the most memorable. Is Fitz Chivalry, Farseer, and Molly from.
So I did a little research on this, just seeing what other people out there were saying, because whenever I ask one of these questions, I get paranoid that I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
So I'll go out and look, and I never saw anyone say what I said.
Yeah.
But I saw several people say Fitz and the Fool.
I like that one too. That was another thing I was going to say.
But I think that's one where you probably have to have read all of it to really get the full.
Yeah, and I'm not by the first of the Tawny Man books. So that's the fourth book with Fitz Chivalry in it.
Yeah,
you kind of see it, and I really like those books because of how much they care about each other and stuff like that. But I really liked Fitz and Molly in those books because they had like. The way they grew together, it was kind of cliched, just in the fact that she was the girl he spent the most time around. But when you're telling a story, you're not going to waste time on characters that aren't relevant.
Yeah.
So it kind of got past that, and the fact that it was such a slow thing, like they just hung out all the time, and then it didn't work, and then she left, and then all this other stuff happened. And then they're only happy for like a brief amount of time, and then things go sideways, and then she ends up like pregnant, but then he can't be with her, and then she ends up with Burrett, which is just all kinds of messed up. But then he's alive, but then he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna ruin that for them, because if they knew I was still alive, they would both feel like they betrayed me, so I can't ever show up again, which maybe he does at some point in the books. But I like, that's just Oh, it's so miserable.
Yeah. Okay.
But another one that I see, because I don't like stuff like, for example, pretty much any relationship in the Midkemia stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like those because it's basically there's a little thing in the way from people getting together, then they get together, and then like that's it. Like there's no. I don't like it when
You're
people
saying that the Midkemia books get somewhat formulaic.
I'm not even saying that. No, that's actually when it comes to this, that's not my problem with it. My problem is
I was just making a joke about the formulaic.
But I don't like stories where they struggle to get together, they get together, and then like they're okay. Like that's just not. It doesn't work that way. Like it's hard being in a relationship and making sure things continue to work. I don't like it when it doesn't like. Prince Arutha and his wife, whose name Anita, maybe. God, I'm blanking on it right now. But they had this thing where like she was a lot younger than him, so it made him really uncomfortable, even though she was very clearly pursuing him. And they eventually get together, and then that's it. Like they're just happy all the time. I don't like they never show any kind of anything where like they're at odds. Like real people and real relationships can care about each other a lot, and then there can still be stuff that just it's a thorny thing that comes up from time to time that you can't. It's like this is not that thing that I want to deal with right now.
True.
So I like stuff like that, and then there's like the Sword of Truth stuff that was way over the top and just ugh.
Yeah.
And then,
well, my number 2. I'll say my number 3 real quick. My number 3 would be Lady and Croaker, Black Company.
Yeah. Especially
as it goes on through the series. But it was almost somewhat unbelievable. Like, them getting together at all. It was like that whole thing is part of my whole, like, God, fantasy couples getting together so often. It's just so fucky, you know. But the strength of that relationship was later on when, like, shit hits the fan and just, anyway. But my number 2... it's Brandon and Dianara in Tigana, and so I can't talk about this without spoilers. But the premise of Tigana is Brandon is a sorcerer. He is conquering this country, and his son is killed, and he is so racked with grief that he curses this country that everyone, except for the people who live there, forget its name. If the name is spoken, everyone else just doesn't hear it. He is wiping them from memory, and they all know it, because they can still hear their name. Well, so the daughter who was alive, a young woman from this country, has it set in her mind that she is going to kill Brandon. And she enacts an elaborate scheme through which he eventually gets picked to be in his harem. And she gets in there, but she falls in love with him. And he falls in love with her, like, of all the people in the harem. And it takes a long time. And, like, it's done so well, but, like, she's just racked with, like, self-hate at times. Like, because she's like, I came here to kill him. If I don't kill him, my country dies, you know? And just it's so it's so painfully beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't kill him. And at the end he dies, and kind of like one of the bitter things is her brother her brother, who she has not seen, they have gone separate ways. They both like wonder if each other is alive, and he has been searching for her for decades. But he is part of like this rebel force that has orchestrated all these events that brings to the climax. And when Brandon dies, she just goes and walks into the ocean, and drowns herself. And he comes up on Brandon's body like 2 minutes later, and you can tell he feels like maybe I should go follow her. But there's like just too much going on, and he doesn't, and so he never finds out what happened to his sister, because she had assumed an identity to be in the harem. Mm-hmm. Oh God, painful.
Yeah, there's another one that I can't remember all the specifics to, so if I get some of this wrong, my bad. But there's a book that I read called, I think it's The City of Stairs. If I'm remembering correctly, it was sad because the main character is like this female character who's good at what she does and all this stuff, and she basically meets up with an old flame, and if I'm remembering correctly, she's still in love with him, but they show show a lot of stuff of what happened between them in the past, and like she's, if I'm remembering correctly, kind of thin and not well endowed in any significant way other than her being a really intelligent person. And over time you realize like what went sideways because they keep kind of hemming and hawing and not explaining what happened, and you find out that it's because he was gay and he was with her to hide it. Like he loved her, just not like that. Yeah. And she loved him, and the reason he could be with her was because she wasn't attractive and was kind of boyish. Yeah. And it was so sad. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the way it went. Okay. And I remember reading that and I was like, oh, that was sad. But it's really interesting, some of the stuff people get into. But then there's things like I don't like a lot of the problems. So pairing fail and stuff like that, like they frustrate me. But I at least understand that relationship makes sense to me because it's like they still have they're very much in love, but they still fight about things constantly because there's things about their personalities that just don't match up, and that's always going to be a problem. But they're always going to get past it. Yeah, I like stuff like that. Like Land and 90, they love each other. There's always going to be stuff that they don't agree on, and it's always going to get in the way. But I like things like that, even though the things that he chooses to make is the thing that gets in the way, annoys the shit out of me a lot of times. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I tend to like a lot of the sad romance stuff. Yeah. So my problem was I was trying to think of one that ended well, and I couldn't think of one that I really, really liked that worked out okay. You know? Yeah. At least not in books. I could probably think of something in something else. Yeah. In books.
Okay. Well, I've said what I need to say. You think you got it? All right. Well, before we get out of here, want to make some announcements on some events. September 15th, if you come to GT South, it's a video game bar in Montgomery. They're doing a mini arts festival, and I'll have a booth there for TalesbyBob / Books, Beards, Booze. September 27th, I will in Birmingham. I can't remember the name of the bar. Fuck me. But I'll have a chance to announce it again on here. But I'll be doing a reading at Noir at the Bar. And then October 20th and 21st, just a reminder, we will both be at Gump CityCon, working the Books, Beards, Booze, Talesbybob booth. On Saturday, and then I'll be there Sunday. And Superfan Tanya. She'll be running the booth. And I will be hosting a panel there, now it looks like, on writing. So, yeah, please come check us out at these events. Would love to see y'all. And as the week comes on, I hope you go forth and grow a great beard.